All right. Welcome, everybody. I think we've got about 14 participants. Okay, Peter, have you got an opinion for us?
Well, if it's this Peter you're talking to,
yeah, sure. This is your favorite,
okay,
one of
then,
your favorite topics.
Yeah, I do. I'd actually written down a note here, and then he used my very thought about the 10,000 or more years is merely a blink of an eye. And to say that the one civilization per galaxy, I'm not quite sure how they worked that one out. It just seems like I think it's an impossibility. All we're doing is we are using an example of one, and that is ourselves. And to me, that, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense.
I personally, I'm more optimistic than he is, I think. I mean, if you just look at Earth, I've been watching a few videos of this guy, Australian guy, touring around India and so on, and looking at various stuff I didn't know existed. There are these most amazing relics of stuff, of whole, almost like a city carved, everything just carved out of stone, down into a hole and carved, and these big temples and caves and most incredibly intricate statues and stuff with all details inside. And then he goes and interprets some of the stuff and says this could be representing cogs, and they would have been joined with chains. And you can see some examples of this in some of the statues where they have. So they were, and these things were tens of thousands of years old. So I think it's easy to believe that there have been past civilizations on Earth who have gone possibly through the path that we have and gone and fought in nuclear wars with jets and so on, and wiped each other out and left very little behind. So, I mean, I just look at how far we've come just in a couple of 100 years with technology. How that, I'm pretty sure that could have happened multiple times in the past. There could have been, disasters which, like a mini ice age 12,000 years ago, whatever, some sort of a deluge, something. I mean, there are plenty of places where they found remnants of cities under the sea, under the level of the sea. They're under the water. Along the coast of India and various other places, offshore of Cairo, of Alexandria, and so on. They're still finding stuff. There's a lot of stuff for us just to find on our own planet. Never mind on other planets. And I mean, there are so many of them. I just find it hard to believe that there aren't some where you've got a potential civilization.
Don't you think that they would have discovered?
I think timing is a more important factor than anything. I mean, it takes, things are thousands of light years away from us. If something is developed in the last 1,000 years, somewhere in a place that's 10,000 light years away, it's going to take another 9,000 light years for their signal still to reach us. It's just time. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's got to do with timing. Like you missed the time that all those carvings in the buildings were there of one civilization here on Earth. And as you're saying, if something is 1,000 light years away, if you can pause radio signal or light signal, that it can stay static for a couple of million years, you might be able to pick them up. But once they're gone, they're gone. You don't have, it's like missing the bus. If you're not there to see it, well, it might have been there. Are you going to wait around for the next one, or should you have come home earlier? So timing for our little speck of a species, for however many 100,000 years we've been around as a species that can recognize other life. And record it. Even perhaps the elephants have seen life, but they were around before we were, so they didn't. They record it in a different manner, or behavior, or genetic fluctuations, or no, we just have the moment that we're in to be conscious. So once we're gone, there'll be no more conscience of life as we know it. So, and things not looking so rosy at the moment. So,
Yeah.
enjoy what we have.
You've got to, all you've got to have is one idiot like Trump go and mess everything up.
Well, no one will remember him.
Let's not go into politics, otherwise we'll never get out of here. David Sykes has got his hands raised. David?
Sorry, it's me, Derek.
This is Elaine, okay.
I'm just quoting the Bronze Age collapse, with which 30,000 years BC. And that civilization was very advanced and it collapsed completely. And then there were the Romans, and things went back to huts. And I personally think right now we're living through the collapse of the Western civilization. So, I think civilizations come and go all the time.
But if I could just add, though, I think Brian Cox made the big the statement about the development of biological life. It's 1 billion years we're talking about. So, if anything, some excavations, Derek, that show maybe 50, 60,000 years ago. That's just it. It's part of our civilization, not another one from somewhere else. I mean, this billion years to develop life on Earth. And I think if the geologists here would tell you that if you look at any rock formations, you can track the development of species through paleontology, and there's been nobody else found so far. So, it's only us. But I would be very tempted to say that from a question about other civilizations elsewhere in the universe, it would be dangerous to say never. You can never say never, because who knows? But on our planet, Derek, I think there's been only us sentient beings might have done those excavations. By the way, there's another one in Ethiopia, Laikipia, I think it's called, in Ethiopia, where there's big churches dug into the rock, into the ground. So maybe that in India,
But that's AD.
You say it's us, but I mean, that was a very interesting thing we had recently on the Neanderthals not being a separate species; they're a human. So, and there's a lot of stuff, new findings developing. I think, we always think we know 3/4 of it, what there is to know. I think we know a fraction of what there is to find out about our past history on our own planet. I think we can take things for granted sometimes. I think there's a lot that we don't know. You say it hasn't been found, but it doesn't mean we won't find it. I mean, there's this old thing of the odd unexplainable things where they find a piece of machinery in a rock, which is 1 million years old. It's a definite sort of manufactured piece of machinery, like a nut and a bolt or something. And it's in a rock, which the age has tested it to be over 1 million years old.
I'm very much afraid of fake news and that sort of thing. And quite frankly, if there had been civilizations before of reasonable development stage, say even approaching ours, they would have found evidence of things like maybe rocket launches or whatever. And I think also most studies on evolution show that the humans as we know them now could only have evolved in the time that they have evolved. And now I'm talking in circles here. So I believe that as far as previous civilizations on Earth are concerned, I don't think that comes into the question, because I believe we have no real evidence of such thing. And the other thing, just quickly, I think it was David that said, never say never. But I think there is one thing we can say quite confidently is we'll never know if we are right or wrong. We will never know. That's my prediction.
But hopefully future generations might still be here to find out.
Yeah.
Who's that with a hand up? Okay. Who else would like to contribute?
Another, I'm not sure where the hand up icon is on my little tablet, but that's why I just butt in. I was often wondering, why are there concentrations of gold and metal and certain compounds? They could have come from millions or billions of years ago. And if you see how durable a computer is, with all the incredible abilities, they'll soon turn to rust and dust and totally unrecognizable. And if you find they might discover our tar roads in a couple of 100,000 years and wonder what they were, because they've completely changed form and broken up and melted and moved. And then I was wondering about going back to petrified trees. The chemical structure is very different, surely, to wood. And I was wondering what kind of alchemy is involved there. So, yeah.
Petrified tree is just where the minerals have, usually under pressure, I think, have sort of infused into the wood. And eventually all the original carbon has just vanished and left behind the minerals which have formed in the pattern of the wood, denser and thicker and thinner in a pattern of the actual layout of the cells within the tree.
But should have a lot more diamonds.
Has this gone from being wood to minerals?
Yeah, right. How does it? We've been trying to do that for centuries to make gold. Why can't it make gold or diamonds?
It's not converting from wood to mineral. The minerals are soaking into the wood, and eventually there's no wood left, and it's just minerals. So the minerals are dissolved in water and soak in, and they build up into a point where they deposit as crystals.
Is it silicon or is it what?
No, it's minerals which dissolve like calcium.
Yeah.
So they'll be in a soluble form, and then there are maybe chemical reactions which make them insoluble.
Yeah, you wonder where the carbon's gone. Yeah. So yeah. Well, that would be a mineral.
I remember seeing an interesting thing where I can't remember what the effect is, but there's some effect where actual sand, they can just with salt water and sand under the I can't remember what they apply to it, whether it's an electrical current or a sound frequency, and it becomes solid like rock.
Yeah, I was wondering more about the concentration.
There was a paper on it.
Humans.
It's a cheap way of making a type of cement construction. You make with relatively common elements and relatively common energy available. You can make solid rock out of sand and mud and some chemicals.
Yeah, no, I was wondering
found in the sea, for example.
Yeah, I was wondering about the concentration of things, because humans like to collect stuff together. Like a Swiss bank probably got chambers full of gold bars, and over 1 million years, it'll be all concentrated in that area. So you'd find a lot of gold, but nowadays we find specks of gold in a certain area, and you find specks of diamonds in certain areas, and you wonder how they get concentrated, whether it's geological or amassing or collecting, some being collecting all these materials together. that you get rich deposits of certain elements from millions. Yeah, sorry, thanks, man.
David, enlighten us on how gold appears in certain places.
I was just going to say the geologists will tell you that they can map out fairly well-defined history of the last 3.5 billion years of the formation of the Earth. And there's a process that the Earth has gone through from the Pangea and the way that continent broke up into what we see today. And by the way, it's still happening. So continental drift is a fact, and it's still carrying on. We're getting mountains created under the sea, and the continents are drifting apart. But in that whole process, the geologists have a very, very good idea of how and where the gold deposits, as an example, were formed and where they have become concentrated and why they have become concentrated. So that's very well known, and therefore guides a geologist's life in where he goes to look for something, because you only find it in certain places where certain geological events have taken place, and that concentration may have happened over the last 2 billion years or so. So, geologists don't just go looking for things willy-nilly. They look at what happened with the formation of the Earth. And that, as I said, guides them to look in the right places. That applies to iron ore, to diamonds from very deep vents in the mantle that came up as essentially volcanoes. And the diamonds are contained in a very different mineral, kimberlite, that only is found from very deep below the Earth's crust, in the liquid portion, if you like, before the mantle itself. And it's one of those events that have happened. And then the diamonds have been spread through erosion, essentially. And I think the classic case is what was the precursor of the Orange River, taking all the diamonds from these pipes down to what is now the Namaqualand and South Namibian coastline. But that's, as I say, geologists will tell you that all of that is very, very well understood.
Yeah.
Pete Kochel, did you want to say something? I see you're not sure how to raise your hand. Anybody know how do you raise your hand? Can anybody tell us? I'd look for an icon now. I couldn't find it.
I don't see the icon on my screen. That was a problem. I was busy typing a comment. By the time I finished typing, you've asked me what I was going to say. It was just a comment about what Peter Harvey was saying about, we will never know. And I sort of agree with that. But I do wonder about how AI might assist us in the future with communicating with aliens. Because Brian Cox was talking about replicating machines. I think that there's something in there about self-replicating machines. That, together with AI, I see as being our own means of communicating over large distances and over enormous spans of time.
Yeah, I think sometimes, I think that the potential of AI is exaggerated, and other times it's just amazing when I try and use it to do stuff. It's just amazing how in a very short time it can do something incredibly complex.
Well, this is the thing is, it's only been around, to my knowledge, for the last 3-4 years, probably a bit longer. But what it can do, you can hold a conversation with it. It's still got lots to learn. But who's to say in another 100 years, 200 years time, maybe we would have built self-replicating machines together with AI might allow us to go out into the great beyond. It won't be us, as Peter says. We will never know, but maybe we are destined to become a race of cyborgs. That type of thing. I don't know.
I've been
like a race of slaves. Yeah.
I've been watching a series on Netflix called Person of Interest, which was made about 10 years ago, I think. And it's about an AI which takes over the Earth, which, one guy developed it. And then he tried to put in safeguards to prevent it from becoming dangerous. It's actually very well thought out, and where I was skeptical of AI ever becoming a major threat to mankind, I'm now starting to change my mind when you see the way people think things through, how it could be possible.
The biggest threat to mankind is mankind, I think, to be honest.
It's basically how mankind misuses AI.
Yeah.
Like anything else, it becomes a weapon.
Otherwise, in terms of is there life out there, I think there probably is. I mean, it started here on Earth. Whether it's intelligent life, I don't know. Even if it is intelligent life, I think things like dolphins are really intelligent, but I don't think they're ever going to land a dolphin on the moon. So maybe there is intelligent life out there, but what was it on Star Trek? They used to say it's life, Jim, but not as we know it.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I would like to ask, though, that launch of the Pioneer spacecraft and the two of them, how do they honestly expect a tiny, minuscule little dot like that to be detected by anybody else in the vast expanse of the solar system, for a start, or the galaxy or the universe? I don't know. How do they expect that to be detected?
Well, I think his primary mission was to go out and explore our planets. It wasn't really intended to explore the universe.
You think it was
beyond.
just an in case then? Just in case?
I think, yeah. I think they knew that it was going to roughly head towards a certain region of the sky where there's bound to be planets. And they just sort of, they left a message on there just in case. I don't think it was its primary objective.
No. Okay.
But you look at comets and things getting caught by our suns. It's inevitable that some gravitational influence will capture it. The chances are, though, it would just be consumed in a different sun. It will never be picked up by a civilized race.
I was wondering how much detail, if you had to aim the Hubble telescope towards the Earth, how much detail one could pick up, what kind of scale they see. If you're looking at distant galaxies far, far away, and you turn it towards Earth, what kind of magnification or image would you see? What's the smallest thing you could see on Earth?
The Hubble would be useless looking at Earth because it is at an altitude of 400 kilometers. It's charging around the Earth, one revolution around the Earth every half an hour. And to be able to take an image, you've got to be looking in one spot for at least like a 200th of a second or something, and it's just going too fast to take an image without it being blurred. That's one of the main problems. But I think they have tried it, and they tried sort of, it's turning it, they tried spinning it around so that it's pointed at a spot while it's moving around Earth. I don't think it helped much. It's not much, but there are, that the Hubble mirror was actually made from a mirror that was intended for a spy satellite. So there are spy satellites with mirrors the same size as Hubble. But they are much higher up, and they rotate much slower, or even geostationary. They're very far away, of course. So that is one of the practical problems with just you might think, let's point Hubble at Iran and see what's going on there, and read the license plate of the card. You can't. It's just not possible.
Mm-hmm. No.
David or Elaine, have you got a hand up again?
No, it's me, Derek. Derek, Brian Cox spoke about the great filter. Now, I have read a bit about that, and I think it's a very interesting concept. Does anyone have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, he says the great filter that what is he saying actually is that humankind might it's inevitable that humankind is going to sort of end its own civilization with its own stupidity? Like not admitting there's global warming, or what is it grateful to?
No, I didn't understand. I don't understand what you're saying. I think he was saying, because this is what I've read before, it means that once any planet or civilization reaches a certain level and they become a danger to themselves and to others, there is a mechanism by which it is screened, so to speak, whether it is us or other planets. You know, it's just
yes, I agree with you. Yes.
The Great Filter. Here's the summary. The Great Filter is a hypothesized barrier that prevents civilizations from reaching an interstellar stage. In the future, civilizations may inevitably destroy themselves via nuclear weapons, climate change, AI, biological weapons before becoming spacefaring. In the past, complex life itself may be extraordinarily rare. The evolution of the eukaryotic cell is a prerequisite for multicellular life. Appears to have been a unique, unlikely event on Earth. So, what he's saying is that the statistical probability is so low of other life developing, given all the things that had to come together to create the life that we have on Earth.
Yeah, but I think we are in danger of that. The Great Filter is almost to the stage where it's being applied to us because we're in debt. We're going to destroy not only ourselves, we might. We are being stupid. He says we're stupid, and we are.
I think that's where religion comes in. There are too many religions. That might be the filter. Yeah. Can you ask Elaine how you put your hand up? I can't find out how to put my hand up.
If you go to the more thing, with more with little dots, and you open that, you'll find a hand in there.
It's under reactions, the heart-shaped logo there in the middle of that
menu. There's more, yeah.
That
more.
heart
Okay.
shape. And then press that.
There's a little red number next to my more. So there are 2 more messages on the more. Yeah,
there's a heart and there's a thumb up, but there's a raised hand at top left.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good. I'll use that. Yeah.
By the way, I just asked AI, how long would Voyager 1 and 2 take to reach the vicinity of another star system at their current speed, which is roughly 17 kilometers per second? They would take approximately 40,000 to 90,000 years to reach the vicinity of another star system.
Yeah.
So if they're still going in 50,000 years, we can get a signal back from them. Well, that'll take 4 years for the signal to get back from Proxima Centauri. So these are the time scales we're looking at, of practicality. So
as Peter said, we will never know.
I can't find the icon for a hand. I've looked.
Yeah, if you go on to more, you see on the bottom there.
I'm looking at more. There's settings, there's meeting info, there's apps, there's whiteboards, there's docs, there's polls, there's show captions, there's recording.
Different, baby.
Doesn't have a
top left is raised hand.
Do you have a heart shaped?
Yes, the heart shape on the right.
Oh, there, react. Oh, okay.
Yes, the
react. One. Oh, okay. So
there's react. Okay, yeah. No, I've got react as well.
Right, thank you.
I've got a traffic cop. A traffic cop signal react.
Too.
See, I don't normally look at hearts because, as my wife says, I don't have a heart.
Well, I've heard Elon Musk has an AI girlfriend, so good for him, man. I wonder if he can switch her off every now and then. Or is that being sexist? I don't know. So, yeah. Oh boy.
Yep. I've learned how to clap a hand. Yay.
All right. And you took it away again. Oh.
I would like to just mention one of the comments below the video. Brian Cox may have missed one reason we have not observed any other life, is that we've only been looking for about 50 years. That is a very small sample from which we cannot significantly deduct anything.
I think that is, to me, is actually one of the main points, and that was the Fermi Paradox formula within that. I think that is.
Who was the chap, the multimillionaire who said, not time is money, but timing is money? So that's where did that come from? What was his name?
That's probably what's his name? The
spruce goose.
American investor. What's his name?
Yeah, he built a spruce goose out of wood.
Spruce goose. He was an outcast, that guy.
Well, he said timing is money.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Ding. There should be a little bell in your little three dot option. Ding. So yeah. Thanks very much. It's been most.
All right. Thanks very much to everybody for their attendance and their insightful comments.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On a broad subject.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Time
Eric.
for a wee bite of some fruit juice.
All right. I still think, they're still finding the basics of the sort of carbon chemicals or whatever, basics of life on comets and so on. They're finding these things. So I'm not convinced that it isn't out there and close to us.
Even the moon, because the moon was supposedly broken away from Earth, so they should have a lot of the similar chemicals. And has it got absolutely no gas atmosphere at all on the moon?
That's the problem, because the moon is too light, you see. It lost its atmosphere, and with a result, you don't have weathering. So you've got what they call the regolith. It's like the moon dust. It's a whole lot of sharp crystals. Very, very dangerous environment.
And the same.
So one of the objectives of the Artemis 2, which going to take off hopefully successfully tomorrow, is to map the moon much more closely than has been done before, and to look at one of the poles, the possibility of ice under the surface, which could provide the basis for a future settlements there, to then go on from there using the water to make hydrogen and then go on from there to Mars. I think that's, so they do think that there's water below the surface of the moon, Derek, as I understand it.
Okay. Well, let's see what they find. All right.
Yeah. Does the moon only face towards the sun? It turns relative to the Earth, but does it turn relative to the sun? Yeah. The moon, is it? It's the same.
Remember, it's revolving once around the Earth every 28 days or whatever. So that's one revolution relative to the sun as well in the same period.
And it shows its one face to us only, so it's showing all faces to the sun.
Only one time.
All faces. Oh.
So it has a 28-day rotation relative to the sun.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of. Lovely. Thanks again.
Okay.
I'll take it back.
Thanks to everybody for your attendance. Okay. And we'll see you next time when Peter has thought up another interesting subject for discussion. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, everybody, for your attendance.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Most enjoyable. Thanks, Derek.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Peter. Cheers.